Holocaust has affected me in the way that I think about myself in the context of the diaspora. It's made me more wary and I guess more fearful to a degree of what could potentially happen.
I'm actually named after someone who's murdered in the Holocaust. During my trip to Poland, what it really taught me and what it showed me is that what the Jewish passion for life means, what family means, what community, and what life actually stands for, that's what Judaism is all about, and that's what the Holocaust taught me.
I'm named after my grandfather who saved thousands in the Holocaust, and it was always a moment of pride for me of that he was able, in such dark times, he was able to help so many and really rise. And I always saw that as a shadow on my life of what will I do in the face of my challenges.
2 summers ago, I interned with the United States Holocaust Museum in Chicago, and it was an amazing experience. But learning about the Holocaust is important to all of us because a generation of the survivors are running out, so it's up to us to tell their stories.
So many people gave up their lives to be Jewish. The fact that Hitler tried so hard to erase Judaism makes me want to be Jewish even more.
A shard of the Holocaust that's really affected my life is the fact that the Jews really stood up for things that they believed in when their life was on the line, like Judaism and all the morals that come with it. And all the more so I should take that lesson and stand up for everything that I believe in my everyday life, even when my life's not on the line.
When I think about all these events, the only thing that crosses my mind is to live a life of meaning and fulfillment, because there's no other way to deal with these things but to find meaning and through that live a very happy life.
Personally, no one in my family went through the Holocaust. My family is from Moroccan origin, so they weren't directly affected, but I still think that as a Jew, we're responsible and we have to remember what happened because these were our brothers and sisters that were murdered.
As one of my grandparents was in the Holocaust, I guess the shards of the Holocaust, the way they affected me is that I feel like I have a kind of a sense of responsibility. And my grandmother and her parents didn't go through the Holocaust for nothing. I'm responsible to continue the Jewish path that Hitler tried to wipe out off the face of the earth.
Both my Zaidi and my grandpa were in the Holocaust. My Zaidi lost his entire family, and he remarried, and they had 10 children. From those 10 children, hundreds of Jewish Satmar Hasidic children came about, and for my grandpa, he married my grandma, and they had 4 children, and also many religious Jewish children came from that. Without my grandfather, I obviously would not be here, and we just learned from them so many things about surviving and how important it is to be a religious Jew.
It reminds me of how my grandparents had to live through this and how it affected my family, and every time I complain then about futile things, I think about my grandparents and my father, how he had to live through this and how life was difficult for them.
I grew up in St. Petersburg, Russia, where the history of the Second World War was genuinely very explicitly manifest. From both sides, my grandparents have survived the war in Leningrad during the siege. And I grew up listening to my grandparents speaking of their experiences and their heroic existence throughout the war.
When I went to Poland, I saw the devastation, everything, the cramped conditions, the beds, and everything that was there. It was really just the little which they were able to survive with, a little bit of bread, everything. Really, the impact on how largely we were living, how much we have to live for, and how well we are off, and how much we have to appreciate everything we have.
I think more than anything, the Holocaust has really showed us that we, the people of 2012, need to be proud and careful about keeping the Torah and continuously inspiring each other.
Being that my grandmother, her family was nearly wiped out in the Holocaust, it put in great importance on our family to stick together and to keep our faith strong.
No one in my family was directly affected by the Holocaust. I've never personally been to Poland. My life would not be the same had the Holocaust not happened because it was a Jewish communal experience that the whole community was affected by.
The shards of the Holocaust affected my life because the shards of the Holocaust are that what remains after it's been shattered. The shards of the Holocaust are the pearls of my family. The pearls of my family are my grandparents and the tradition that we have left over.
And just like we have to remember the Inquisition or any other tragedy in Jewish history, it's incumbent on us to remember the Holocaust.